Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. It is November 1st. It is the beginning for me of witch season. I know that sounds really weird because we just ended October, but I always joke that November is witchy season because it's just like nature magic and it's fall and I don't know what it is, but for me it's always witchy season. I always try to read gothic stuff in November and witchy stuff in November and I'm just so excited. I'm so excited about November starting. And it's also my birthday month. It's also my mother's birthday month and it is also my late grandmother's birthday month, which we always joke that both of them are witches because they're from Massachusetts. And the way that they cackle, and I'm not gonna lie, I also cackle the exact same way. My dad likes to joke that we are three witches in a coven, and it's creepy apparently when we all laugh. But not like that. It's like a full like a big laugh. It does sound like a cackle. It is a little alarming. So anyway, that's why it's witchy season, because it's the birthday month and it is fall and I'm just so excited. Anyway, I got so excited because it's November, but we are here today to talk about the books that I read in October, which honestly, as of like a week ago, was like 2 books. The last 2 weeks, I've read a shocking amount to make up for the first 2 weeks that I really didn't read anything at all. So I'm very impressed with myself how much I've read recently, and I'm like in such a reading mood. It's very exciting. I'm so excited to start like my next book because I literally just finished one last night so that it would fit on this wrap up. And yeah, I'm just like ready to talk about books. I'm ready to talk about books. And I read a couple like big ones, so I'm very excited to talk about them. So I read, let me get my reading planner. So for the month of October, I read 11 books. If you don't count the short stories for that horror ranking vlog thing. It's not really a vlog, but it's a ranking video. I read 4 this month, 2 last month. So if you take out 4, and technically I only read like 7 books, but overall it is like 11 things. So I would say 7 books, actually it's 6 books, 1 graphic novel, and then 4 short stories. So I'm very excited to talk about them. And I guess technically one of the other books is also a collection of short stories, and I'd read half of them the year previously, but I'm still counting it. I'm obviously still counting it. So first we're going to be talking about the books that I DNF'd, and it's actually only 1. I only had 1 DNF this month. It's a sad DNF, but it was so boring, and I actually DNF'd Stars and Smoke by Marie Lu. It was just not what I like was expecting. It was supposed to be like a young adult. I got it because I thought it had to do something with like fantasy, but it definitely wasn't. It was just like a young adult romance that had to do with spies and bodyguards, and I thought it would still be good, but I was so bored by about 20% in that I was like, this is not it for me. This is definitely not it. And I'm very sad about it because I had 2 copies technically. I had a Kindle version, which I got on sale, and then I also had a physical copy because I was like 100% sure I would like it because I really liked the Warcross series, but this was nothing like the Warcross series. The writing was totally different. Everything was totally different. So I was like, yeah, this one's not for me. I did end up DNFing that one, which was really sad, but that was the only one. That was the only one, which is kind of crazy. And now moving on to the digital books that I read. So ebooks, we're gonna talk about ebooks. And I really only did those 4 short stories. I'm not gonna talk about them a lot because I talk about them in that horror reading thing. If you wanna go check it out, it's a very short video. It was really fun to do though. But they are part of the Creature Feature Short Story Collection thing. And I read, I'm gonna have to read them out. I read Big Bad, Best of Luck, The Pram, and It Waits in the Woods, and they're all like, they all have to do with a creature, and I really didn't like any of them. I didn't think any of them were particularly good, but it's just because it's not my brand of horror. However, The Pram by Joe Hill was really actually pretty good. I just didn't like the ending, which is why I didn't get a higher rating. I liked that one. It was very interesting. And it made me actually want to try reading Joe Hill because I have not read a Joe Hill before. So that's kind of like the breakdown of those 4. If you want more, definitely go check out that video. But I'm kind of just sick of talking about them by now. But I guess I'm trying to think of the ratings that I gave them. I think I gave Big Bad like a 2.5. Best of Luck I gave a 3, It Waits in the Woods a 3, and then The Pram a 3.5, I think. Again, you would have to go check out that video because I know the ratings. I don't have them written down anywhere. They're just in that video. So anyway, that's everything that I read on ebook. Next, we are getting to the book that I listened to on audiobook. And I'm definitely getting a physical copy of it because I wasn't expecting to love it as much as I did. But I ended up listening to The Woman in Me by Britney Spears, and it was so good. It was so good. And I'm not like, okay, the people that I like listen to that have read this are like Britney Spears fans, so of course they're gonna like it. I was a Britney Spears fan when I was a kid. I could sing most of her songs, especially the popular ones, back even now. I could probably sing the entire first album that she put out even now. I was listening to it the other day. So I was a huge fan of her back then, but during all the drama, I feel like I'm definitely aging myself right now. Very definitely aging myself right now. I remember her going through all the drama that she went through and her not really talking about it, and it just kind of like passing by, and all the Kevin Federline stuff and so on. And I stopped liking her music after a certain point. She always put out like a really good one, like a single, but overall the type of music she was putting out was just like not my style. But I was a huge fan of her previously, and so when I saw this book coming out, and then I heard about the whole Free Britney movement, didn't really know that much about it until recently when the I'm so bad at saying this word, the conservatorship was gotten rid of. I know I'm saying it wrong. You don't need to tell me I'm saying it wrong. I know I'm saying it wrong. So when that was like revealed and was dissolved, that's kind of when I went back and was like, oh, like this is all the stuff that's been going on. So I became curious about like her side of the story, because the only side of the story we had was like her family and the paparazzi, which I really hate paparazzi. I'm gonna say something controversial, and it's gonna piss people off who are non-violent, and I'm very non-violent. I'm very resolve conflict with your words kind of person. But if a paparazzi is in my face trying to take my picture, I'm gonna break their shit. I'm sorry, that's what would happen. This is why I'm not a celebrity. I don't do well with people in my personal space. So if I was Britney or Taylor Swift or any of these celebrities that get hounded by paparazzi, I would break their stuff. Like the minute I see it, like that really expensive camera that you're pressing into my face, it's gonna be broken. I have the money. I'll just send you the money to fix it if I'm a celebrity that big. So it's not the way to do it. I'm sure it's not. It makes you look bad in the media, but to me, any celebrity that is going after paparazzi, I'm a fan of. So I was always a fan of Britney when she looked absolutely crazy attacking that paparazzi van. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, just skip ahead to the next book. But anyway, so I just wanted to know her side of the story and what she was thinking the whole time. So I was like, okay, we're gonna try it out. I'm not really a celebrity memoir kind of person, although now I am. I'm addicted to it now. I gave it a 5-star. It was so good. It was heartbreaking. I was crying through parts of the book. It was so sad. And it was so good hearing everything from her side of the story, and I absolutely loved it. And I would highly recommend How to Train Your Dragon does a whole spoiler thing on the book. However, there are more things in the book that he does not go over if you want to still read it, because after I watched this video I was like, do I really need to read it now? But then I read it, and yeah, I would highly recommend, if you were even the least bit interested in Britney Spears, to read the book or listen to the book, because it is phenomenal. It is so good, heart-wrenching. Oh my god, I loved it. And the way that I listened to it, this is the way that I would listen to it. On YouTube, they have everything. They have everything on YouTube. So she references specific interviews and music videos and just everything. VMA performances, Super Bowl performances. How I listened to the book is she would say, okay, we started the music video for Oops, I Did It Again, and this is what happened, and I'd pause, and then I'd go watch the music video, or I'd go watch the VMA performance, and it enhanced the reading so much, because she talks about how she's feeling at each performance, and while she's doing each thing, and you can see it in her face. Like, she literally talks about, there's one performance where she's like, I didn't want to be there. I had given up at this point. I was being forced to do this, and so of course I didn't give it my everything. And you can see it in her face that she hates it, and it's so good. It is so good, and it makes you understand where she's coming from, and it makes her Instagram make a lot more sense. If you've never seen Britney Spears on Instagram, It is a trip. However, she explains it like very coherently. She's like, I know I'm weird on Instagram, but it's my weird. Like, I get to do my own stuff. I can put my own pictures up. I can put my own videos up. If you've been filmed for 40 years of your life, you would also want to do some weird stuff that you control. And I'm like, yeah, okay. I get it. I get it. And then the other thing that I noticed, and that some people pointed out, is if you go and watch, if you read the book and you watch the performances, her dancing style changes. She gets very jerky with her dancing style. I don't know if it's because I know she hurt her leg during one of her tours. She talked about that. But her dancing style becomes very jerky and very like staccato movements, and that's what she liked doing. That's what her Instagram is. It just looks weird without backup dancers. So after watching those performances and then watching some of the weird videos on Instagram, it's like she really is just doing dance moves from her other tours. It just looks weird because of the angle and there's no backup dancers. So I was like, Brittany, thank you. Thank you for explaining this, because I was like, something is wrong, but I don't know. After reading that, I'm like, she's fine. Just leave her alone. So I am fully back into a huge Britney Spears fan. I'm obsessed with her again. We'll see how it continues, because there's just always drama unfolding with that. But yeah, I love her right now. And I highly recommend her book. It is phenomenal. It is so good. I literally just spent like 10 minutes of this video talking about Britney Spears. I feel like I should have just done its own separate video, but whatever. It's fine just talking about it in this. I don't have that much to say about it. It was just really, really good. And I will say it is my favorite book that I read this month. So it is my #1 absolute favorite book that I read this month. Easy 5-star. It was so good. I was thinking I wasn't going to rate it because I feel weird rating memoirs, but it was just so good that I was like, yeah, it's 5-star. It's so good. And I actually just pre-ordered Barbara Streisand's memoir. I'm so excited about that. But most memoirs, the longest one I've seen is Prince Harry Spare, which I don't really want to read that much, is 16 hours. Barbara Streisand's is 48 hours. It is I looked up the page count, it's like 991 pages, and I was like, oh my gosh. But I'm gonna do it. I have that pre-ordered. It's coming out on November 7th. I'm so excited about it. I'm so excited about it. Anyway, let's move on to the rest of the books that I read. We're gonna go in order of when I read them. So first thing that I read this month in the first week, it was pretty much mostly a carryover from last month. So I ended up reading The Atlas Six. You guys all know that. I read The Atlas Six and Blood Scion for the Fairy Loot catch-up vlog, and it's a 2-star. It is bad. It is really bad. I am so not a fan of this. Oh man. If you want full thoughts, again, go check out the Fairy Loot vlog. Just if you don't want to watch the whole thing, just go to the end where I talk about my thoughts. I have no words because I should have loved this. It's supposed to be this dark academia, which doesn't even feel like dark academia to me. It's supposed to be this dark academia competition. It's not even really a competition. And I loved Alone with You in the Ether, so I just kind of had my hopes up, because the only thing that I'd ever heard why people didn't like this was the writing style, and I don't have a problem really with Olivia Blake's writing style, so I was like, oh, it's gonna be fine. This is the most tedious, annoying, frustrating book that I've ever read. It still gets a 2-star because I did not DNF it. I was hooked into knowing what was going on, but when we figured out what was going on, even that I was like, I hate it. But I can't give it a 1. If I gave it a 1, I would not read the next book. But I'm going to I'm going to attempt to read the next book. Maybe a DNF. If I don't like it right away, it's going to be a DNF. But yeah, it was not good. It was not good. Very disappointed. The Atlas Six. Yikes. Yikes. Like I said, next we read Blood Scion. I think I gave this a 3.5. I think I gave this a 3 or a 3.5. This one was better, but I talk about it again in that Fairy Loot vlog, but this should not have been in a book box. No. This has so many trigger warnings in it. But it's very well written. It's very entertaining. However, it's depressing and it's very violent and graphic, and there's every trigger warning possible in this book, and it was almost too much for me, and I'm not affected by that much stuff. So it was a lot. I was nauseous at actually one of the scenes towards the end, and I was just like, ah. If this had been at the beginning of the book, I probably would have DNF'd it just because I would have been too afraid that that was gonna be the whole book. So good thing it was at the end, or it would have been a DNF. Yeah, if you want to hear more about this, again, it's in that vlog. Okay, we are moving on to books that I haven't talked about, so we're gonna talk about them a little bit more. Next, I read Hockey Girl Loves Drama Boy. This one is so cute. It is so cute. So this is a very, very cute book that is following our main characters. One is a hockey player, and she is this amazing hockey player, but she's kind of very awkward. She doesn't go out of her way to talk to people. She's antisocial, and which is not a bad thing. Like, if you just aren't comfortable with other people, you aren't comfortable with other people. But she also has a bully, and the bully is just ganging up on her and is awful, and no one is helping her. And so she kind of loses it and hits the bully and gets in trouble for it, and she's trying to figure out how to deal with her anger because she's scared. She's never felt anger like that before. And so she sees an interaction with our main male character, and he has a ton of bullies. He's in the theater program, and he's bisexual, and he gets made fun of a lot for that. And she sees him dealing with the bully in a way that's like, he uses his word and he just dismantles this bully. It is amazing. And so she goes up to him and she's like, can you teach me how to do that? And so there's a lot of cute things in here. Like, there's friend dynamics, there's drama with the friends, there's drama between them, and family drama, and it's cute. And if you like Heartstopper, I actually would highly recommend this one. I think you will also like this. It's adorable, and it has like very non-gender norm characters. So we have more of a masculine female character and a more feminine type male character, and that's very fun to see. You don't see that very often in books, and I thought it worked really, really well in this, and it was adorable. It was so cute. So I gave this one a 4-star. Next, we have a book that I've actually had for a very long time. I got this in a Beacon box like 3 or 4 years ago, and I'm so excited that I finally finished it, and I've been reading it for like 3 years. It is the short story collection Vampires Never Get Old. I actually really liked this. It was actually really, really good. And it's very obvious what I ended up getting the second one. They just came out with Mermaids Never Drown, something like that. I actually got that one, and I intended to start reading it for Halloween, but I ended up reading a bunch of other things. I was in the mood to read a bunch of things later in the month. So this is fun. It's a bunch of short stories, and we have some very like big names in here. The ones that I recognize obviously were Zoraida Cordova. I'm so bad at saying names. V.E. Schwab, Rebecca Roanhorse, where's the other one? And Julie Murphy were kind of like the ones that I recognized, and I was excited to read from other authors in this. But I tabbed like what my ratings were. You can see these tabs were from last year, and then the random other ones were from this year. But I did end up finishing this, and I think when I averaged everything out, it was like a 3.2. So I did give it a 3. Actually, I think I gave it a 3.5 because I just really enjoyed it, even though it rounded down lower. But the stories that I really liked. There weren't that many like 1 stars, but I had a couple of 5s. And I loved the V.E. Schwab one. That one was so good. And it actually, they had a TV show on Netflix that followed that one. That was kind of why I was really into that one. I was excited about it, and it was so good. I'm sad that they canceled that show. I actually really like that show. But anyway, so I give it a 3.5. I don't really want to talk about every single one. If you're interested in that, you can ask about it, and maybe I'll do a video about each individual story. But otherwise, it's just a bunch of vampire stories, and they're really fun. A lot of different types of stories, so there's something in here for everyone. Next, I read a book that came out this month, my most anticipated probably for the year. I reread the first book and then read the second book like 2 months ago to make sure I was ready for this. And I read A Curse for True Love. It took me 2 days. This is a soft 5-star. This is a soft 5-star. And that's how I felt about the other ones. The other ones were 4.2s or 4.5s. And this one, to me, this one's better. This one is better than the other two. I'm giving it a soft 5-star because I wasn't like freaking out, but I do like how I love how she did everything in this. I think yes. I was so nervous after reading the second book because they were doing something in this book that I do not like. So I was like, I'm gonna hate it. I'm gonna hate it because I hate that stuff. But it was done so well. It was done so well, and I loved it, and I was squealing at some parts. because I love Jax. I love Jax. And I like that there was no real love triangle in this. I feel like that's not really a surprise after the second book. If you've only read the first one, then maybe you'll be surprised. But no real love triangle in this. I love what they did with the characters, and this is so good. My problem was the ending. And I went online and I read a lot about this, and a lot of people agree with me. The epilogue that she chose, so if you don't know, this whole series takes place in like the true north or whatever, and it's all about fairy tales, and they change. There's a curse on the land that fairy tales change when you read them. And so you never know like what the actual tales are. And so what she decided to do, which I think is really cool, there are 3 different books with three different epilogues, other chapters, because she does have one epilogue that she chose that she likes the best, and that is the epilogue for the book. But the Barnes & Noble edition, the Owlcrate edition, which is coming today, so I'm really excited to read it, and the Waterstones edition, which is online, and I was able to read it online because I did not get a copy from Waterstones. I'm trying to get a copy secondhand because I would like that epilogue. But there are 3 different optional epilogues, and she came out in an interview and said the one that I picked is that one, but I wanted to write 3 optional endings because this is the true north, etc. Fairy tales change. The one that she picked is the worst. It is not good. It is so unfinished. It's so, when I read it, it left like a bad taste in my mouth. I did not like it. I don't think it fit with the rest of the story. It makes sense, but I don't like it. I don't like it. So the Barnes & Noble epilogue, I'm so tempted to just cut the pages out that have her epilogue and just like put the Barnes & Noble one as the actual epilogue. So I love the Barnes & Noble epilogue. I read the Waterstones epilogue. That one's also phenomenal. You could have just and they work together. So you could have just put all 3 epilogues. I don't know about Owlcrates. I don't know if Owlcrates is good, but you could have at least put Barnes & Nobles and Waterstones together and made one big epilogue or a final chapter, and it would have been great. Like, it would have been great. I do think this book ends a bit abruptly. That's also why it's a soft 5-star, but I love the rest of it so much. And with the optional epilogues, they're so good. I think the Waterstones is better. This one's cuter. The Waterstones one is like perfection. It fits the story so well, and I love it. I love the one in Waterstone, so I'm definitely trying to get a copy of that. Yeah, so soft 5-star. I liked it. I think it was a really good ending to the series. I still like Caravel, that whole series, better. I do. I know a lot of people definitely don't. A lot of people like this one better, but I like Caravel better. And then we are on to the last book that I read this month, and it is A Study in Drowning. I did read A Study in Drowning. I really wanted to read this while the hype was high, because sometimes I feel like I miss the hype and then it's like not as fun talking about. I really wanted to read this one, and it was supposed to be a Last Chance author vlog, which I did like film the opening for, but I raced through it, so I ended up not filming anything for that. So I'm just gonna do like a Last Chance review of it. I wasn't gonna say my rating on this, but it's a 2-star. I so didn't like this. I didn't like this at all, and I thought this was supposed to be young adult. This is not young adult. Like, I would not let like a 15-year-old read this book. I would, especially for like one specific scene, and the general theme through the whole book is like a lot. It's a lot. Well, I guess if you're 15-year-old read ACOTAR, that you're safe with this, but because I still see ACOTAR in the young adult section, and I'm just like, those kids are in for a surprise. But I thought this was young adult until about like 70% through, and I was like, this is surprising. I'm very surprised right now. Anyway, this book is the most boring book that I've ever read. It is a slog. I don't even know, see, and I don't even know if I can say a review of this because I'm just so frustrated with it. And I almost DNF'd it multiple times, but I was like, just finish it. Just finish it so it's out of the way. You know for sure if you didn't like it. You know for sure. I did not like it. I should have DNF'd it. It was so bad. It was so bad. However, The reason I did not give it 1 star is because generally I feel nothing about it. I feel like I just wasted my time. I feel like I wasted my time. 1 stars are kind of like, they're reserved for like loathing, like utterly loathing something. And I didn't loathe this because I didn't feel anything about it. I'm mostly mad because I wasted my time, but I liked Preston. So this one is following our 2 main characters. I totally forgot to tell you what this was about. This is following our 2 main characters, Effie and Preston, and they are both from this school, and it's definitely in the olden times. I don't know when this is supposed to be set, but it's definitely like gothic feeling. It feels like the same era that Jane Eyre would be set in, so it definitely has that vibes to it. And this was marketed as a dark academia gothic, and I do agree it's gothic. 100% it's very gothic, but it's not dark academia. This is not it. This is not dark academia. It tried so hard to be dark academia. It started dark academia, but the fact that most of the story actually takes place in like it takes place in a house on a cliff overlooking the ocean, and not in a school. It's not dark academia. They're writing a paper the whole time. That does not make something dark academia. This is not dark academia. This is gothic, dark gothic romance, I guess, kind of. Like, it is a romance, but the theme of this book is SA. That is actually what this book is about. Constantly. It is constantly referenced. She's got extreme PTSD from it, and it's just like, I was not expecting that. That's why I was like, I don't know if this is a young adult book, because this is there's a lot happening. There's a lot happening. Mostly there is a graphic sex scene in this that I wasn't expecting, and it's not super graphic, like, ACOTAR, but there is one in there, and I was like, whoa, wow. I thought we weren't allowed to do that in young adult anymore. But maybe this is just like fake. I don't know. I thought this was young adult, and I think this came in the young adult box. Yeah, it came in Outcrates thing. This is definitely supposed to be young adult. Anyway, I'm confusing myself because I'm all over the place with this book. But it's following Effie, our main character, who has a history of men treating her very poorly. She made it into the architecture school. She's the only woman, and she's treated like absolute crap. That is a theme throughout this book, is that our main character, Effie, her whole personality is being pretty and treated like crap. That is literally her whole personality. And she wins this like competition to go to her favorite author's house to design an architecture plan to redo the house. And there she meets up with Preston, who is a literature student. The literature college does not allow students who are female in there, so she's bitter about it because that's where she actually wanted to learn. She went to the architecture college as like her second choice. So they end up working together on a project about this author while weird things are kind of happening, because it is also supposedly a fantasy. But the fantasy aspect really is like that much of the book. This much of the book is like fantasy. After a while, I was like, this isn't a fantasy, is it? Like, it's not. And then at the end, I was like, oh, I guess it is. Like, I guess it is. But it's really not fantasy for most of it. It is just boring. It's just so boring. And the ending started getting a little interesting, but at that point it was just too late. So God, it was boring. It was so boring. I don't know what else to say. That's pretty much all I got. But anyway, yeah, this was a 2-star. Did not enjoy it. A lot I didn't enjoy about it. Very sad. This is one I finished last night super late just to have it done so I wouldn't have to talk about it next month. But yeah, that is everything that I read this month. I feel like it was a pretty good reading month for not reading for 2 weeks straight. I was pretty shocked about that. I feel like I generally had success minus the Atlas 6 and A Study in Drowning. So I started the month bad and I ended the month bad. But in between, there were some really good things. Britney Spears, thank you. Thank you for your memoir. It's amazing. And obviously, thank you, Stephanie Garber, for finishing that series, one less series that I'm in the middle of. And it was really great. Very, very good ending to that. And that's everything that I have for you today. So I hope I have a great November. I hope you guys have a great November. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any future content. There's a lot of stuff that's going to be coming out hopefully in November. I'm working on a secret TBR vlog in November. I'm actually filming that intro right. Oh, there's a little thing. this house is so dusty. Right after this, I am filming the intro to that secret vlog thing that's going to be coming out. I really hope it ends up coming out. I don't know. My success rate of vlogs is very middle right now. It's like 50% if they actually come out right now. So I'm hoping that that actually happens. I'm very excited about it. Make sure you like the video if you enjoyed it, and make sure you comment down below if you're interested in any of these books or you read any of these books. Let me know what you thought about them. I would love to hear reviews on them or books maybe you think I would like after reading these. And that's everything I have for you today. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one.